Thousands of civil rights leaders and change agents from across the nation gathered in Boston this past week for the NAACP National Convention. It had been 40 years since Beantown hosted the event. The theme, Thriving Together. Vice President Kamala Harris and former U.S. Senator Hillary Clinton were among keynote speakers. Harris touched on recent challenges and took aim at the U.S. Supreme Court and its decision in June to strike down affirmative action.
What I know about the leaders who are here is that the members of the NAACP are up to the challenge to fight for these hard-won rights and freedoms, and we know every day we must be vigilant in protecting that which we have achieved.
Vermont's two NAACP chapter presidents are just back from Boston, and they're with us this morning. Joining us this morning, Mia Schultz and Stefan Gillum, the Rutland area and Windham County chapter leaders of the NAACP in Vermont. Welcome back to NBC5 In Depth.
Thank you for having me.
So you guys have had a whirlwind week in Boston at the National NAACP Convention. Mia, it was your first. Tell me about it.
Well, it was certainly empowering. It was great to be able to network with fellow freedom fighters from all over the country, and it was especially especially exciting to be part of the resolution process, in which will guide us for the continuing year and help us set our priorities branch by branch.
Stefan, you've been to these before, but I mean, thousands of people attend.
Yes, over 10,000 people, I think, attended this year. The last one I went to was a couple years back in Detroit. Also, many, many thousands of people. I think over 10,000 there too. Don't quote me on that, but it was definitely a lot. And you know, the cities really show up for it. All of the billboards when you're coming into the cities say NAACP convention, celebrities come out, singers, local leaders. It really is a fascinating time to be in the NAACP when the convention comes to town.
I mean, the obvious question is, you know, you both represent a small state, a rural state, and I'm wondering, you know, how important is it to get out of Dodge, so to speak, and to network with your fellow leaders from around the country? Stefan?
I think it's really important, right? I think that New England is one of those places, like some other pockets of the United States, that kind of goes unforgotten, kind of goes forgotten sometimes because there are bigger states with bigger populations of Black and Brown people. However, every time we mention that we're from Vermont and people hear the work we're doing here, there is a bit of an initial shock of, oh, it happens in Vermont. Oh, you're doing it in Vermont. And then there is a curiosity as to, what are you doing in Vermont? We would like to know more about it. And so there is actually a pretty positive reception, but I will say that it's always a bit of a shocker for folks who are used to seeing places like Georgia and Mississippi and Florida on the map.
Yeah. Mia, you concur?
Absolutely. The reaction usually is Vermont with a question mark. But when we start to talk about our various issues and advocacy roles and things that we do in the community, we find that we align, right along with Tennessee, Georgia, Michigan, and so on and so forth. Like the issues and problems that we are facing all over the country also happen here in Vermont. And it's good to be able to network with people to get ideas and really just find community with one another,
The theme this year was thriving together. I imagine that politics is never very far from the conversation, though, particularly in light of the new Supreme Court striking down affirmative action, among a number of issues of concern for the NAACP.
Absolutely. It was the Thriving Together really brought all those issues to a head, right? We discussed all of those plaguing issues that we're dealing with, including the striking down of affirmative action, as well as Roe v. Wade and other national issues that we're seeing in Florida, for example. that we're fighting on a national front. And we just need to be reminded that we're in this fight together. We always have been. And freedom fighters have been here. This is the longest serving national civil rights organization in the nation at 114 years. We've been through a lot, and we're going to thrive together going forward.
Yeah. The only thing I would add to what Mia said is that I think it's also important to remember that not only did we come together, from all 50 states, but it was also a cultural celebration. And I think sometimes we forget that in the NAACP. That's why we're here, to celebrate culture more than anything else, right? So
Boston as a host city, I did not realize was the site of the first NAACP chapter, and was where Dr. King earned his doctorate and met his wife. So there's a history there. Did it feel like a celebration?
yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, go ahead, Stefan. Go ahead.
Yes, I think it did feel like a celebration, at least to me, right? I think one thing about the convention that is nice is that you can kind of come and go as you please. People are coming across 4 or 5 days, and so there are places like the Hub and things like that that are around that allow you to be part of the celebration no matter what. Also, like I was saying before, the ability to have local leaders come together with community leaders from all across the United States, and also people who have gained some celebrity, and to talk about real issues and to connect those things was powerful, honestly. And it's something that you don't get to see a lot of times happen within, BIPOC-centered spaces.
Mm-hmm.
They're usually a lot more siloed.
Couple of minutes left, but I want to ask each of you what you bring home with you from the week, and when we might see a greater chapter presence in our state.
Yeah, well, first of all, we brought home the most important, and the reason for the National Convention in the first place was our resolutions. It took us 10 hours with all of the groups together to really nail down our priorities legislatively for the remaining of the year. In terms of Vermont, we are looking forward to a new branch opening in Windsor County. They are on their way to being chartered, and we look forward to them joining us perhaps next year in Las Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah. I would say, to add to that, one thing that I bring home is just some empowerment, right? Because I think that it can be really hard and lonely doing this work sometimes. It can feel like you're siloed off, right? And people have a lot of issues that they're bringing to you, and you want to help everyone. It's really nice to be able to go and be around people who actually are going through what you're going through, who are wrestling with the things that you're wrestling with in their respective states and providences, and to be able to speak to those and to say, well, what have you done? I think that for me, the biggest thing that I brought back were lessons from the conversations that I had. It doesn't even feel like I got to have enough, to be honest, but the conversations that I had were the lessons that I brought back that I hope we can implement in Vermont as we move forward with our respective branches.
Stefan Gillum and Mia Schultz, the presidents of the Windham and Rutland area chapters of the NAACP, just back from Boston. Many thanks for being with us here on NBC5.
Thanks for having us, Stuart.
Thank you. See you soon.
You bet.